and I think I've done very well because I've touched the souls of about 18 to 20 trade unions where I've moved physically, but others, I support them when they are going to on recruitment. I might not go, but at least some have done. In doing so, you mentor people. Because not everybody, if you are put in a place, they can say if you were today to be put in a position and say you are the general secretary, you might not know the dynamics. So that's why I started to mentor. But also, by the grace of God, I was the first national chairperson of the National Teachers Union. And when we started with it, we had 0 membership. 13 years later, when I was leaving, we had 162,000 subscribing members. And on the payroll of government, they had 190,000, meaning that we have gone beyond 80%. So I want to continue with that program to make sure that we recruit and widen the scope of the trade union movement. So that's another area. But also the other one is capacity building of the ladies. I've been with them, moving with them. And I want to continue with that because they have brought, we have had workshops every year during the Women's Day. Before it is a pre-congress every year. And we bring people to put it in perspective, the woman at the place of work. Because when they talk about issues of charcoal and a lack of water in the villages, that's the national. But how about the...
Milton, Chairman General Central Organization of Free Trade Unions, the delegate in this workers register, that we are going to select our members of parliament, the 5 of them. And I had actually come to witness their nomination, but I also seconded Honorable Margaret for her second term as a nominator. Precisely, I've looked through many of the manifestos of our candidates, especially the incumbents, and they are quite convincing. We still have unfinished business for them, especially when it comes to the NSSF bill. You know, the battle is in Parliament, and the 2 clauses we are left, that is one where NSSF should be. Should it be in finance or should it be in gender? But our submissions were the Minister of Gender should take on the administrative and policy role, whereas Minister of Finance should take on the investment, and that's what we call dual ownership, or dual management, not ownership but management. To our supplies, Minister of Finance wants to own it all, to take on the management of the board of the NSSF at the same time manage the investments. But world over, the Labour Ministry is in charge of policy and management of the social sector, whereas finance could only manage the investments. So there are still issues of recruitment. We need in this term our members of parliament to massively recruit so that members join labor unions for easy coordination and working on the rights of our workers generally. When you look at the markets, when you look at the journalists, when you look at the informal sector, which is massively growing, we need members of parliament that can champion all of these changes, and then we'll move on in the new direction. For example, the markets bill, or the Markets Act for say, was enacted in 1942. Those are 78 years down the road, and has never been revised or reviewed or updated, and many things have happened in the market environment. We have supermarkets, we have marketing online now, we have roadside traders, we have babies in the markets. So all these are issues that need to be really worked on so that we have the law that encompasses the current environment. When you look at the type of legislation that is in Parliament, we still need more members of Parliament. To me, I think the 5 members of Parliament are still few, and we need at least increment from 5 to 10 members of Parliament, because workers have increased, and therefore they can adequately cover their views when they are sizable. Now, like other interest groups, their numbers have increased. So in the case of youth, women, the workers themselves, many projects are in government and our workers are not included. The livelihood programs, name them, Operation Wealth Creation, Emyoga now. So we need members of parliament that can push these issues so that the workers, fraternity, all the workers in Uganda benefit from this livelihood. Like when you look at the plenary manifesto, committed the workers also. But we are strategically handling that at a strategic level, and I know our good president will listen and the workers' views will be completed. So when these members of parliament are going, I think we need even a debate. Their manifestos, most of them consulted us and our views have been accommodated. But I think we need to take the labor movement to the next level, whereby the manifestos should be made by all the workers that they are going to elect, so that the views, they represent the manifesto that are from the workers, not from themselves. But aside that, they have been consulted, and many of their manifestos are really containing the workers' issues. We still have issues of minimum wage. We need a minimum wage for this country. And this is why it was passed in Parliament, but the President didn't assent to it. Probably he was misled. But I know in this next term, the team we are going to send to Parliament will ensure that the workers of this country get a minimum wage, because this minimum wage is supposed to be set according to sectors. Probably they misread the President that it is all wholesome minimum wage. What happens in agriculture, what happens in education, what happens in science, what happens in maybe cattle rearing and etc., they should be paid differently. And therefore, the minimum wages should be set across the sectors. And this is one of the principal issues that these members of parliament we are sending this next term, 2021-26. At least they should do a service for the workers of this country.
To follow up certain laws that have not yet been concluded, to start new laws, because we have established a foundation, and also to pick from the foundation we have already established to do additional things that are outside definitely the traditional mandates of members of parliament. To be effective as a leader, they need to have experience, they need to have established sort of personality and a knowledge base that is appropriate for the task that as a leader you are handling. Personally, I have about 5 areas that are really additional to any ordinary member of parliament. So the service that we are going to be offering together with the colleagues that will be elected, me, the 5 of us, my contribution will be to make sure that we first of all even work on the knowledge base of the workers, try to work on the foundations in terms of mindsets, in terms of values, because we know that even if you have good laws, if you don't change the value base of the people, then you are wasting time. So that's an area. I've already established, you can even see an institution called Dr. Sam Lyomoki, this kind of mindset. But I've also going to move a motion to establish nationally an institution for workers that can be assisting in mind education. So we also have issues related with prosperity in terms of transformation. There are certain benchmarks that we did and some more things that we have to follow up. We have already laid that foundation in terms of transformation. How we can have workers own homes. There are workers who are renting houses, and yet they can be able to have mortgages, so that the workers have houses instead of paying the rent. We also have issues of legal aid to establish, to make sure that we follow up all the laws that were made, so that they can be able to be implemented. So basically, this new dispensation is going to be trying to maximize this space that we have received as workers, because we are special interest groups. We don't have to continue having amateurish type of interventions. We need to have a very professional, competent, formidable intervention, mobilizing the widely fraternity of the workforce in this country. So basically, I'm posed together with the colleagues who are going to be elected to go an extra mile in terms of trying to handle workers' issues, because I have the foundations, I have the experience, I have the passion and the heart in terms of workers. Because usually the work and leadership, there are basically 3 things. There is the skillfulness, the hand qualifications, there are the heart qualifications, and also the brain, the knowledge. And basically on those 4 areas, 3 areas as a leader, I think I'm posed to do exceedingly better than I would have done in the earlier dispensations, but also better than above ordinary level.
I have done a lot in Parliament, but a number of them are not yet complete. You are aware we have been handling a number of bills. We have exited some are pending. And what I'm going to do this time around, I have to ensure that the NSSF bill is completed, because we are remaining with a few clauses, and I know we are going to harmonize. You're also aware I moved the private members bill, the Employment Amendment Bill 2019. It is not yet exited, so I have to work hard to ensure that I complete that. But also, there are a number of issues we have not touched that we are going to engage in. One of them is to ensure that government puts in place the Salary Review Commission or board to ensure that salary in public service is harmonized to avoid discriminating, because now they are paying different salaries at same levels, which is unfair for the workers. And the Constitution of Uganda clearly states that we should be paid for equal work done, yet this time around they are paying different salaries. Take example of teachers. Those of science are paid differently, those of arts are paid differently. Those are some of the areas I'm going to touch. But also I'm going to engage in the safety of workers. You are aware the responsible Minister of Gender, has not been on the ground to ensure that they inspect workplaces, to ensure there is safety at every workplace. That is going to be key in my activities, to ensure that we engage the ministry to see that they move out and first of all register workplaces, but also continuous inspection.